A, B, C. A always be B, C closing. Always be closing.
What's up, everybody? Another episode, Scared Money Don't Make Money. Another awesome guest we have for you guys today. It is a retired Sergeant Major Spadaro, the former Command Senior Enlisted Leader of United States Indo-Pacific Command. It took us about 5 minutes to get that right, so we got it right. We did it. Anyways, as always, we got your boy Roy here to just, I don't know if he's got smart glasses on today. I guess we'll see. But we're going to make it work. Damn,
I forgot him.
I'm going to let Retired Sergeant Major, I'm going to let you talk about yourself for a minute, explain to our people who you were, what you did, and then we'll find out what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, hey, aloha to the Scared Money Don't Make Money podcast. And I got to tell you, to Cameron and Clifford, this is a privilege. And thank you for allowing me to share this time with you and your incredible audience, which I've been tracking. And I got to say, you guys are the voice that I'm so appreciative. Like I said, yeah, I just retired on 1 April after 34 years, 11 months, and 28 days of service. So you could say 35. I had the coolest job. I was a United States Marine, and so that means if you do the math, I came in 1985 before most of your audience was born. And it was just, yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just had to think. I was trying to think about how old I was. I'm like, oh, okay.
I did the math for you, and so. Yeah, it was just a blast, and I finished with my last position, as Cameron said, as the Command Senior Enlisted Leader for the United States Indo-Pacific Command, and that's, as you all know, it's one of our geographic combatant commands. So I got to serve on the Joint Force. So I had 380,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines on my morning report every day. It was our largest geographic combatant command. So it went from Bollywood to Hollywood, from polar bears to penguins. That's about 52% of the world's surface. And we're the ones these are the ones that are responsible for the entire warfighting effort in, we would say, the most consequential area of operations in the world, and that's the Indo-Pacific. Yeah. And you just had one of my best friends in the whole world on, Command Sergeant Major, retired, John Wayne Trox. So he did almost 38 years. Man. But he was the senior enlisted advisor to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So I got to work for Command Sergeant Major Troxel, our former SEAC number 3, the third one, for 4 years. And it was just joyous. And so he got me attracted to this. So I want to be part of making sure that y'all understand is, hey, I believe it. Scared money? Don't make money, but so I'm a retired Marine. I don't have, I know you're all looking for the crayons in the background. All I got to tell you about the crayons is that I've learned to take the paper off them, and red is my favorite color when I'm eating crayons.
That's the trick. So what do you do? What do you do now, sir?
Yeah, it's pretty cool after retirement. One thing is when you're in these positions, and if you stick around for a while, one thing you're going to learn is it's not just about relationships. It's all about relationships. And it's these relationships you make along the way. So when I was transitioning out, some people contacted me. And so now I'm serving as a board or consultant member for a bunch of different organizations. And I don't know if I could say them on here and let you know what I'm doing.
By all means, you're straight.
Yeah, well, I serve along for Beaver Fit USA. And now Beaver Fit is probably some of the coolest things you'll see out there if you're concerned about your health and wellness. So if you go to any of our gyms right now, you're going to see a Connex box. And inside that Connex box is material that can be pulled out. It's completely deployable, but it's just not that Connex box for high-intensity training. It's stuff that we have in the gym. So Beaver Fit was created by Tom Beaver, who's out of the United Kingdom, and 2 other guys here in the United States. Yeah. And they started Beaver Fit to take care of our warfighters with the equipment that they want. So the warfighters actually build this equipment to their specifications. So I consult with them. I work with a company called Bravo Sierra, and they're a company that's concerned with Oh, okay. Hope you use the stuff. That's why I smell and look so good right now. But they're making stuff for the warrior, and it's all special stuff it's made for the warfighter by the warfighter. That's concerned about making them most prepared and ready, especially when they're deployed, with a bunch of product that's incredible. So if you go to their website, bravosierra.com, you'll love it. But probably the coolest gigs I have is I'm with the Robert Irvine Foundation.
Okay.
And I don't know if y'all heard of Chef Robert Irvine. Chef Robert Irvine, Restaurant Impossible.
His bars are delicious. The crunch bar things, those things are amazing.
Fit Crunch.
Yes.
Fit Crunch. Buy Fit Crunch, get Fit Crunch. It's
sponsor this show, Fit Crunch.
You got me. Hey, I'm going to tell Chef Irvine. But Chef, get Chef Irvine on the show. You'd love it. It just Chef Irvine's incredible, and he's doing a bunch of stuff for our men and women in the armed forces. Mm-hmm. He's taking care of them. He's taking care of their families. He's taking care of veterans, and he has a foundation, the Robert Irvine Foundation. Yeah. So they hired me on to work on his foundation, and it's joyous. Yeah. Especially what he's doing. And you know what he says? Make the impossible possible. So watch his show Thursday nights, Food Channel Network, and eat Fit Crunch bars.
Boom.
But one of the other cool things I'm with, and probably Command Sergeant Major Troxel spoke about this, is FitOps.
Yes.
And FitOps is out there, and what FitOps is doing, it's saving our veterans' lives right now. Because they realize that a lot of our veterans are attracted to this high-powered lifestyle. They want to be with others. They want to take care of others. They want to improve each other. So that's what FitOps is doing. So I got to sit on the FitOps board. Okay. And it's just so cool. Yeah. Loving it. And that's fun. And I sit on a couple other consultancy boards, like with Emory University, their health initiative programs, the Youth Impact Program. We're taking our inner city kids, introducing them to how to be, students, at the same time as pretty good football players. So that's done by a guy named Ricky Ellison, who's a really good American. And then, I got some other gigs, believe it or not. So
God, your calendar must be stacked.
Shoot.
I teach at the Marine Corps University as an adjunct faculty member.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm doing that, fellas, is I'm atoning for those sins for 35 years. So when I'm teaching leadership to our young Marines, I'm trying to make sure they don't do the same mistakes I made.
Yep.
And then also, I'm with two other really cool companies. One's called the Resilience Building Leader Program. And if you saw it on LinkedIn, this is a program where we provide one-on-one training to all different ranks in the military. It's sponsored by Air Force Cool, Army Cool, Navy Cool, Marine Corps Cool. They pay for the certification, but it's a certification that's saying, you know what? You got the chops to be a leader. Uniquely for those that are transitioning, HR people now are looking, if you have this on your LinkedIn, and they're looking for people that have this certification. It just said, we validated your leadership. And it's a great program. It's called RBLP. You can see it on LinkedIn. And then I'm with this company called Fifth Principle. And Fifth Principle is a startup company. Yeah. It's with a guy named Chris Greca. He's a retired Command Sergeant Major who was the Central Command Senior Enlisted Leader. Yeah. And he started Fifth Principle. And Fifth Principle is about muddy boots leadership. Or the most important part of leadership is who? The people you serve for. Yep. So what we do is we go around, we do analysis of companies, and we tell them how to recognize your most important asset, your people. Yeah, yeah. And so that's the thing I think we got to change. You heard some story says, the customer comes first, the customer comes first. But we try to teach a lot of businesses, no. Your employees come first. Exactly. So when your employees come first, then your customers will be taken care of.
Infinite mindset, Roy.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm doing, and I'm open to anything else. I've done a couple of private speaking gigs, so people will hire me. I'll go to say companies
for sure,
and I'll talk to them about how to. And I don't like to talk just about leadership because hey guys, you realize when you learned about leadership when you're in kindergarten. And if you remember kindergarten, what was it? Be nice to one another.
Lead the line, Johnny.
Respect one another. And don't run with scissors. Yeah. Well, you come in the military, and what do we tell you? Be nice
Yeah.
to one another,
Yeah.
respect one another, and keep your fingers straight off the trigger until you tend to shoot. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
So I get to do stuff like that. So, yeah. And I just like I said, you know what I did early this morning? See that water out there? I was outside at surfing. How's that?
Man,
At 6 o'clock this morning.
So where are you from? Like where'd you grow up at?
I'm from the coolest state in the union. It's this place called New Jersey.
I knew I knew you were gonna say New Jersey with the last name Spadaro. Hey, you guys. That's why you like Sopranos too.
There it is. Yeah.
You could take the boy out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the boy. So yes, proudly from the wonderful Garden State, guys.
The Garden State. That's a good movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I have not seen it. I have not seen it.
Great movie. Great. We talk movies next one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, man, you are doing a lot.
Exactly. I mean, you're pretty well versed. I mean, especially like I just counted like 1, 2, 3,
there's at least
4,
6,
5,
7.
6, like six organizations like that you work with. Like, so
scared money don't make money.
Yeah, I see that. Like, did you get like in tune with these companies before your separation, or like did they just kind of like follow with you once you got out?
Literally, Clifford, it was phone calls right when I was getting out because of friendships.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Chris Greca. He serves with Beaverfit.
Yeah.
And he told Beaverfit they're looking to build their military consultancy board. And they said, hey, could you give them a call? I get a phone call. Cold call is driving. And I was talking to the president of their company, and it's like, wow, I got offered a job. I called my wife, and I said, I just got offered a great job.
Hey, it's happening.
Take it. Yeah. And then right after that, a friend of mine, a retired general, went to work for Bravo Sierra on their military consulting board. They're looking for someone. All of a sudden, I get a phone call. Hey, do you want to join us with Bravo Sierra? They told me, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Chef Irvine was an incredible friend for a long time, working with him with the USO.
Yeah.
And he knew when I would transition. I get a phone call one day from him that says, hey, I want you to come work for me. Okay.
Yeah.
The Marine Corps University, I thought I was going to be doing volunteer work. And all of a sudden they asked when I was retiring, they said, hey, would you like to become a adjunct faculty member? I'm like, sure. And all of a sudden I'm filling out, they bring me in and I got to start filling out this pay information. I go, what's this for? They go, we pay you. I go, huh? Really? I go, shit, I would have done this for free. So.
That's always the best ones, when there's the ones that you would do for free. and then
the incredible connection with the SEAC, and the SEAC has really provided me some great opportunities right now, especially the work we're going to do on FitOps is just incredible. So. And then with this other one, I can't believe I forgot it. One more, add that to the number. Okay. And I hope this is a big plea because I hope your listeners go to this one. It's called Fourblock.org. So F-O-U-R, block, all one word, .org, O-R-G. Yeah. What they're doing is they're really aiding veterans that are transitioning. And it's not your typical, like I said, SkillBridge is great and all this stuff. Fourblock is a mentorship program. And what they do is they have high-powered people in Fortune 500 companies that are former veterans themselves, possibly. Mm-hmm. They assign that person to be a mentor to the veteran, and they help them through their transition. So this is someone you can call up, someone that's going to talk to you, give you straight talk. So no one's going to blow sunshine up your behind and tell you that you're great and you're going to go get paid a lot of money on the way out. They're going to set you up for success because this is what we find. A lot of the transitioning veterans, they only last 1 year in their first job. And it's about 71%. 1 year in their first job out of service.
Yeah.
Hey, isn't the goal is you want to have a couple of years, start building your chops. So that's what Fourblock does. So if they could really go check out Fourblock.org, I sit on their National Leadership Council. Okay. And I love it. We're saving lives.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. So is that enough, Clifford? Are you okay, man? You out of breath?
I'm I'm listening. Yeah. I'm writing down. Like I try to write down my notes so I have more questions.
He's a note taker. So I feel as if I'm starting to become like I'm the reach out person. So obviously, I'm the one that messaged, Troxel and Chief Simmons, all these other people. Like I'm the one that's hitting them up, and because I'm just like that. I'm like, whatever, what's gonna work? Like the worst they're gonna say is no, or I'm busy, or they don't respond, And so, but no, Roy's like my note taker. Like he's my structure. You know, like every good relationship has those two. You know,
The
you got
yin and yang.
the yin and the yang. And so that's funny though that you talked about the Fourblock one, because I don't know if you remember, Roy. We talked about that exact same idea like a year and a half ago when I got to Pennsylvania. Remember, we were we were talking about the exact same thing as trying to hook up, but then we noticed that there were a lot of people already in that space, already doing a lot of good things. And so in retrospect, we're like, well, we don't need to, you know, why not just more so just push people to those places?
Yeah, those
Instead of, we don't need to
organizations.
create our own place right now. Like, we have so many other things that we can do to help, you know, to help this market of people and so forth, that, you know, let's let those people do that now. Now that we've learned all about it, we can push people to it. And then, you know, now like that, and that, you know, that what in essence, I guess a year ago was probably the spawn of the podcast. We just didn't know it.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, like when it comes to all of that, I think it's really cool that stuff happens because, so I remember coming in and I met so many senior enlisted people, like they were like on eggshells, like, oh man, like I'm transitioning out, like, oh man. So it's good to know that they have a lot more programs available to veterans for that transition out, because I've met a lot of people, like they're at the end of the road and like, man, what am I gonna do next? So, but I'm glad I met those people, because it always had me think about life after. I will always say, like, set yourself up while you're in, but prepare for that exit time, because if you don't, it's coming quick.
Yeah, no, you guys, it's, you know, and it's also, you know, the problem is that they really made it cookie cutter, and you can't paint it all by the same by numbers. So the young man or woman that's getting out after 4 years, is not the same at 10, 20, 30, or 35. So these are different events. And I used to agonize when I was still in uniform, I used to agonize about that young man or woman that was leaving after 4 years. Because one, I was hoping they left with a happy heart. But two, they were set up for success, because I didn't want them to become the statistics we see now with our transitioning veterans. And that's why I think what you two are doing with recruiting for the National Guard is unbelievable. And I used to like beg him, like, go try the Guard. Why not?
Oh yeah, you're saying
it's a safety net. It's a safety net.
Yeah. And I know that's what we always talk about, like, you know, because Roy being he's still an active duty recruiter, and then me being Guard recruiter. Like, that's one of the things we talk about too, is the differences and even the similarities. Like, you know, and that's what the podcast came about, was that, you know, and I was talking to somebody the other day, is these are the conversations we have on the show are conversations we know other people are having, but there's never in a big portion. It's just like, hey, you're sitting at a desk like bullshitting with the other dude, and you're like, man, they might even think you're crazy. Like, I know a buddy of mine hit me up and he said, man, I'm listening to your podcast, and he said, I told my recruiters that same thing, and they thought I was freaking nuts. I was like, put them on the podcast, man. Like, these are not, you know, I don't want anyone to think we're doing anything brand new. I think we're just doing it in a new format, you know, like
you know what? That's why
we're bringing a new school to it.
No. This is why it's critical, and I hope this is why it's important. What you're connecting to your listeners is this is where, you know, this is where I think, as the old guy looking now at what need to be done, is your voices, because your voices are critical. If you want to know something, you're being listened to. And I mean, I was, you know, a young man that I'm working with here in Hawaii just got out of the Army. He was an entrepreneur, started his own mail company, box service. It didn't work out unfortunately, because of COVID. He's looking for different things now. I was just saying, hey, I'm going to be on Scared Money Don't Make Me. He goes, I listened to that. and that's where it's like one of those points where you're like, yes, you know, Clifford and Cameron are the voices that our young folks need to listen to right now, because they're going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to me. And you know what? Okay, don't. But listen to you.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That is one of the things. Hey, I mean, I'm older. That's the only reason why. I mean, I got one question though, because I wanted to ask this question before I forgot, because sometimes I do forget. How did you join the Marines? When you joined, what led you down that path of like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just go do that.
Yeah,
that's always interesting to me.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a funny thing is that I was in Rutgers University, of course, typical in New Jersey.
Right. Yep.
And you know, I was having a lot of fun. And I was getting into senior year, but more importantly, you know, my dad was a Marine, my brother was a Marine, and I got to the point where I said, hey, you know, I think I'm wasting a little bit of time and money here at the university. And I said, I need a change, and I need drastic change, and I need something and I also wanted the challenge.
Yeah.
And I knew the Marine Corps to me represented challenge because I heard my dad always talking about it, my brother talking about it. I saw their service. My dad was a Korean War vet. My brother was a Vietnam War vet.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And also, here's the other thing is, you know, they said I couldn't do it. And I accepted a challenge from my family because they said, look, you know, you're a mama's boy and you're not going to make it 6 months. 35 years later. Yeah. But that was a good driving thing though. And it was a motivator to me is that I'm not going to fail or quit because I thought I was quitting college and that was a failure to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to, in my mind, how do I make up for this? So let me go to the most drastic thing. And I still remember that first day of recruit training when the drill instructor woke everybody up at 4:00 and you're like going, oh my God, is this a bad dream right now? But you know, you suck it up and all of a sudden you get through recruit training and you're like, okay, I accomplished something. And everything in the military becomes then is certain challenges are presented to you that you keep doing different accomplishments.
Yeah.
And it starts feeding you that you say, I could do this. But you're also showing, you know, I wanted to show others that, you know what, I can be a Marine and I can accept, you know, everything that the Marine Corps offered. And so anything they were doing too. So early on in my career, I was afforded a really cool different positions. We got to become a Marine security guard, which was really cool.
Okay. At the embassy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
I be learning.
It was a blast. I mean, here's this kid from New Jersey, and I had less than 2 years in the Marine Corps, and I end up in the Ivory Coast. And I was like, wow. You know, then I went to Botswana, and I'm like, wow. Then I went to South Africa, and I went, wow. And it's just, this is cool. I mean, I'm a kid from New Jersey, you know, and look where now I'm overseas.
Yeah.
So, and that's when I decided to stay in. And it was funny because I thought I was getting out. So after the first 4 years, I thought after I was finishing Marine security guard, I thought I was getting out. And my mom, who had a real bad problem when I signed up for the Marine Corps, I remember telling my mom, hey, I think I'm going to get out. I wanted to go become an LA police officer back then.
Yeah.
And she sent me a Western Union telegram. And I don't know if you guys remember this.
Man.
This is the old day before faxes and stuff like that.
The old WU?
Yeah.
Man.
My mom sent me a Western Union telegram. I was in Botswana. And she said, Anthony, if you get out of the Marine Corps, I'll break your knees. Love, Mom. I called up the career planner, signed on for another 4 years, never looked back after that.
Hey, Sergeant. Sword.
Wow. And then they're asking you like, so what made you change your mind? Like, my mama said she gonna break my knees.
You know, and I think that's like the typical thing. You know, when you're going through that time, it's like, you know, what am I going to do? You know, you're trying to find your way. You're trying to chart it. You know, I kind of knew it was the Marine Corps, but but then once you sign back on, you just don't look back, and I never did after that. And it was literally the only reason why I stayed this long was the people. Yeah. It was the people. And I'll always say it was the Marines. And then I got to go to the joint services.
Yep. Man. So hold on. Why the Air Force y'all so good?
Wait a minute. Now, I used to do a list why I love the United States Air Force so much, you know, and you know, well, no. First off, you know, the chow halls.
Yo, they are fire. They are fire.
All right, but here's the other thing that blew my mind: Offutt Air Force Base.
What?
Wait a minute.
I've heard that. It's like it was like voted #1 in the Air Force.
The biggest gym in the world.
Yeah.
I was in shock. And I mean, it was like a Marine's dream when I was there. I was just like, look at this place. You know,
Yep.
you could never do the same thing twice.
You know why?
But no,
Global Strike Command. They got
that's
all
right.
they got all the money.
But no, yeah. But, you know, it was along the way. And this is, you know, and I've talked to a bunch of my friends that are chief master sergeants in the Air Force. And there's one thing that John Troxel always talked about is the real difference maker among us all is when you don't see the uniform, you see the person.
Yeah.
And so this is the thing is that, you know, not only the Air Force, I have so many brothers I consider that are Army command sergeants majors, Navy master chiefs, Marine sergeants majors, master gunnery sergeants. This is an intense brotherhood.
Yeah.
And that's like, and I'm sure you guys are realizing that, you know, that the other, you know, your guys and gals in the Air Force that you serve alongside are just great people.
Yeah.
Most of them.
I mean, I can honestly say, like,
well, one or two, all right.
One or two don't make the cut. I mean, but I could probably say, like, even like he probably got more people that don't make the cut than I do. But like for me,
realist.
It's just the experiences and the people. It's just I always told people when it was time for me to re-up again, it was because I was still having fun and kind of sort of I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah.
So the experiences that you have, like you said, like being from Jersey and like me being from St. Louis, it was just so many things I got to experience, like in your wildest dreams, you just wouldn't imagine. So
yes,
I can only imagine 35 years of experience, like and the levels that you held. I know you got stories for days.
I think
yeah.
one of the main lessons I especially these last couple of days, because as Roy knows, like I go from 0 to 100 super quick. So
real quick.
Very quick. And so I dive into stuff. And so like I've, you know, since we've been doing the podcast, every single night I'm up researching how do people start their recruiting companies? How do people get into sales? What are the best sales sites? And it's funny, you know, I talked to a lady today. She contacted me on LinkedIn and she was like, what is your industry? Or like, what are you and your friend, like, what's the podcast? What are you guys trying to attempt? And it was funny because I was going to tell you, Roy, I think this is the first time I actually had to put it on like paper. And I was like, oh God, I got to make this make sense. Cause this lady probably knows what the hell she's talking about. And I was like, well, we, you know, are doing the podcast and we eventually want to open up a consulting and recruiting firm. Yeah. So I thought I was good. I was like, bet, we're good. And she said, well, no, like what specifically though? Like, what do you want to do? And I was like, oh, damn. And I was like, well, we want to do, you know, consulting and recruiting management is specifically for recruiters, talent management teams, human resources, and the general management teams of a company. And she's like, okay, that'd be told. And I was like, does that make sense? Like, I even asked her, I said, does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is my first time putting it on paper. And and you know, and she said she said it's okay. Like it may not, even if it didn't come out the first time, like it's just how it happens. And I said, well, how did you get started, if you don't mind me asking? And she kind of told me, and she said, honestly though, you just fail until you make it.
Yeah.
And I was like, gosh. And I think it's funny, you know, just what, you know, take the lesson from the military, especially, and I try to explain it to my civilian friends and things like that, is they literally start out by breaking you the hell down. Like they make you fail. Like they don't care. Like you could pick up your bag 15 different times, but they'll tell you all day you didn't pick that shit up right all 15 times. But then, you know, all of a sudden your squad picks up the whole thing right the same time. And you're like, we failed 15 times, and on time 16, we finally got it right. And I think that's something I really try and press to people, even myself, is that with success comes failure. Like, and if you're successful without failure, then your success is probably going to take a nosedive at some point because you haven't learned those lessons that you got to learn.
Yeah, you know, the thing I think we have to start addressing, though, with that too, especially with some of the older people, is what blocks us is ego. And it's a lot of times, it's not so much trust. And when I'm doing this and I'm teaching this, and I says mostly to older people, it's ego that blocks them because their ego is either preventing them
Yeah.
or afraid. Scared money don't make money.
Yes,
They don't
yep.
want to take that chance.
Can't be scared.
Right. And that's what usually ego is such a, man, it can really be debilitating to
Yeah.
folks. And that's why, you're trying when you're working with folks is how do you get past that?
Yeah.
And that was interesting, like how that woman was helping you and look at that, the quick lesson that you got for
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
from that. And I mean, look what it forced you. You said, wow, I don't have this. I got to go put this on paper. I have to think it through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the critical thing when we're trying to tell, especially transitioning veterans, is start thinking 5 years beyond. I know that's
Correct.
hard.
Yeah.
I know that's difficult,
Yep.
but I need you to think, where are you going to be from there?
Mm-hmm. It's the same question when I ask people when they join. Where do you see
Yeah.
yourself in 5 years? If you join and if you don't. And like you said, it's almost like how people talk about like a goal's not a goal until you write it down or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just a thought. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Like I always talk about people hear me recruit sometimes and they just laugh at me because people try and give me like, general answers. Oh, I just want to serve because I want
Sure.
to do this. And I'm like, but that doesn't answer the question. Like, why are you doing this? Like, what do you want to gain? It's okay to say that you want to gain something from doing this
Yeah.
decision. I think that's enough. People are scared to say what they want to gain because then they have to understand what it's going to take to get it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and how you guys get to work with that, and I think that's the thing that you're working, especially now with the generation now,
Yeah.
and trying to see that, and I got it, trying to ask them for 5 years. Well, okay, let's talk even 3.
Yep.
But I'm trying to say is where do you position is a lot of times we're so worried. I don't mean to sound military in this, but we're so worried about the tactical or what's in front of us. We don't look at the strategic or the long-term effects.
Yeah.
Of what it can mean. And I got it when you're 22 years old. Yeah, I was 22 years once too, and all I was worried about was 23.
Yep.
I wasn't worried about 28, and it's easy for me to say that now.
Yep.
So I think this is where though you all are relating it a lot better.
Yeah.
To that person at that sweet spot, and especially how you want to help people transitioning. Setting up talent management. Mm-hmm. Putting people in the best, one of the things we're suffering right now is, like I said, is so many of our veterans don't last that long their first year of employment because one, they're unhappy. Yeah. And why are they usually unhappy in exit surveys? They're missing the camaraderie that the military was affording them.
Correct. Yep. Something went away.
So how do we get them in organizations that they're going to feel that same type of camaraderie? A lot of them, hey, they want to go make a lot of money. Don't blame them.
Everybody want a lot of money.
Right. I don't blame them, but sometimes when you're trying to talk them through, it's like if you could give a little less money, but you can't wait to get to work every day, isn't that worth it? Where I've seen a lot of transitioning veterans, they've gotten to make a lot of money their first year, but why they're leaving it is that it's kind of aimless. It's very cutthroat. Yep. So if they're willing to give up a little bit, but to join an organization where they feel socially aligned, they can't wait to go to work every day. Yeah. Well, isn't that kind of worth it?
No. Oh yeah. We have a family friend. She's known me since I was really small, and she's out here in California as a lawyer. And like the last time I had talked to her, she was working one place, and then I talked to her, recently, and I was like, "Oh, how's the job going?" She's like, "Oh, I got a new job," and I was like, "You got a new job?" Like, and that's not normally in her character either. Is she's and she's like, "Yeah, man." She's like, I wasn't as happy as I thought I was going to be. Like I was managing a lot of people and the organization, it wasn't driving for me at the time. She said, "So you know what? I took a pay cut. I went to this other sector," and she said, "I'm so happy now." She's like, I get to practice. I get to practice the way that I want to practice. I go home and I spend time with my family, and I don't have to stress about anything. And I think that's one of the things I've really been trying to talk to people about is like, man, like if there's anything that crossing over to the Air National Guard taught me, it was like, man, money ain't everything, man.
Yeah, yes, yeah, and it's kind of that's the one thing too. We have to when you work for Uncle Sugar, remember Uncle Sugar's providing a lot of things that you don't realize. And then when all of a sudden you depart Uncle Sugar, and it's like a lot of these things disappear, and you're just getting a straight salary.
Yeah.
So I mean, how do you sit there and how do you talk? What is the true essence of a salary?
Yeah.
What are the benefits from it? What are you preparing? And I got it. When you're 22, 23, you're not seeing it.
Yeah. You see,
But,
I see it now. 3 kids and a wife.
Yeah, but how do you sit there? And I think there's ways, and that's why I think where I want your generation is how could you at least make those connections that at least plant some seeds that they're like, okay, I'm going to try to get my act together. I'm going to try to succeed. That's what I worry about.
Even just building your network, like,
yes,
like I was at, obviously through this and not, take away the podcast, like, I have friends who, military wise are very successful, but you go look at their LinkedIn profile, they might not even have one, or they have one and it's, by lack of a better word, is trash. And you're like, bro, and I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, well, you got 14 years from retirement. Who cares? I'm like, bro, my 14 years started 10 years ago on how I'm going to get hired when I get out of here. So like, we got to, you're right. Like it's young people. It's separating service members. It's just kind of everyone with how much technology there is. People don't even have to call you anymore to figure out if they want to hire you. And that's one of the things I'm also starting to learn is like, ATS, applicant tracking system. I just learned that. I just learned that recently. It's the term that the companies use as far as like the algorithm that spits out the resumes to the hiring people at the company, which obviously is not good for a recruiter and it's not good for the applicant. So
yeah, you just touched on a great thing, is that even the importance of LinkedIn and the right LinkedIn, and it's when you go through the transition readiness seminars, there's whole classes now on the effectiveness of LinkedIn, and a lot of times, like you said, get the right picture up there. How many times do they have the wrong picture? Hey, look, the funny little selfie that you're taking in the car with the sunglasses trying to look tough. Hey, some HR person's not going to take it. And they tell you to have that presentable picture with a smile. That's critical. It's cleaning it up.
Yeah.
Because you just said it. And a lot of times now they're just doing that quick algorithm search. And in 30 seconds, they're going to determine if you're going to go to the next level. So your whole life that you're working on becomes 30 seconds to an HR person right now. So how do you, that's critical. And how do we get young men and women to start realizing it? And also too, LinkedIn, hey, Facebook is Facebook, LinkedIn is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then some people are starting to, they cross those lines with LinkedIn. Well, here's the other thing is the HR folks are looking at your LinkedIn profile. And if it looks like a Facebook thing,
they don't,
they're not going to take you. And I got it where Facebook is fun and Instagram is fun. And hey, those are those realms. But also too, there's a little bit of discretion that's needed.
Yeah.
Because they're also looking at that now and you're putting it out there. So it's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
And if you want to have the crazy Facebook pages with all the crazy stuff, okay.
Yeah.
But when the super XYZ Fortune 500 companies not calling you back.
Yep. And that's why people don't get either. They're like, but I have so much. I'm like, bro, like,
yep.
Presentation.
It's honestly, to this day, I always say, like, as people like move forward, like going to like political arenas and things like that, like, man, you pretty much got to tell your kid, like, from birth, like, look, you can't have a Facebook page because you might want to be president one day, or you might want to be a senator one day, because that they I mean, it's so much. What's that? The digital track record, or digital footprint.
Yeah.
Man, like
everything, bro.
I'll be scared for the day. Like my kid, like, can I get a Facebook page? No,
negative. I just had a picture from when I was in recruiting school pop up on my Google Photos thing.
Yeah.
I deleted. It was like a meme or something. I deleted it 6 years ago, and it just popped up on my Google. Never even like.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing that's really hard with that too, and this is a whole another podcast to talk about. But it's this weaponization of social media right now that the bad guys, the
Write that
adversaries, are
down.
doing. No, but it is. It's called the weaponization of social media. Troxel and I have talked about this at length in another podcast we did about the issues with this right now because the adversaries use it. But for instance, if you were to put my name into if you just put Anthony Spadaro on Facebook, look how many profiles come up that aren't mine. Same with Instagram. Same with Twitter, which I'm active on. So many fake accounts. And they're just pulling these public pictures. So these pictures are already public, and you're hoping they're a good picture, please.
Right.
But these bad guys are using it. They're using it to scam and stuff. So this is another thing about social media, how you have to be smart about it.
Yeah.
Because the adversary is using it, and you really always want to make sure you're doing that. A good friend of mine, Scott Stalker, who used to be over at our NSA.
What a name. Andy works at the NSA?
Wait. Why not? It's even better. He's now the command senior enlisted leader for United States Space Command.
Oh, I want him.
We could get you. We could get you him. He would love it. That's one phone call. Trox and I call him. He'll just say yes. What time do you want me on? But he used to say the coolest thing is that we teach weapons maintenance. What we don't teach to our young men and women in uniform is social media maintenance. And I got it. And I said, look, I know what you're trying to do on it. Okay. But there's still, remember, some things could be seen. And don't blame me if we're not, or you just said it perfect, Clifford. You got to start doing it from day one. I know some guys that didn't get positions because their wives' social media pages were not the best.
There was that guy who got fired. He got fired because of that thing his wife did in San Francisco, where she was badgering that dude. They fired her and they fired the husband.
Yep.
It's called employment at will.
Exactly. Yeah, that I learned about that, and that is crazy. But you're right. Someone took my stuff. I don't know. Did I tell you that, Roy? They didn't take my pictures, but I showed Adrian, somebody tried to add me on Facebook, and I was like, I don't know this person. And then I looked at the little header stuff where if you look at my Facebook, it says I love food, music, I do a podcast. It was copied verbatim. And I sent it to Adrian, and I was like, yo, check this out. And then one of my recruits, he just posted on his Instagram that somebody stole all his Instagram stuff too. All his pictures, name, all that.
I mean, I was trying to do the LinkedIn and stuff like that, and I just put scared money don't make money on Facebook, and also I'm looking at 50 sites, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, we're still it's funny because if you look up "scare money don't make money" on Google, it's a couple episodes of this here, this thing there. I think, but we're really kind of the first people to actually try and make a platform out of it.
And I love it. Like I said, this is even you're saying it's so powerful.
I mean, it's kind of funny because to me, when it comes to being scared, by nature, sometimes we're just fearful of something. Like you said, the fear of failing. Sometimes we just got that intrinsic motivation of you just want to prove everybody wrong. I think a lot of times for some people, and I heard when it was Michael Jordan on the docuseries. I don't know if you've seen it.
I didn't watch it yet.
You didn't watch it yet? Oh man! So
I don't got time to watch TV, dog. I'll be researching.
I know. I researched too, but this is a good one.
That was research.
It was he made up a whole conversation with another player and went out there and dominated the second half because he just needed a reason to just light a fire up under himself.
You know what, guys? Yeah, I mean, I used to talk about this when I would do town halls with a lot of the younger men and women. And like I said, I'm not a fan of the next two people I'm going to mention, but I have this deep respect for them. I'm not a fan of Tom. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady because I'm a New York Giants fan.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
And I'm not a fan of LeBron James because I'm a New York Knicks fan.
Oh, okay.
But
Fair.
I think they are the two premier athletes in the world. And you want to know why I respect them so deeply? If you ever look at their lives, they control it because you know what they want? They want one thing and one thing only is to win championships.
Yep.
And they devote their entire year
They do.
to trying everything. Their whole life is geared to it.
Yep.
But they're so disciplined in their approaches. And like you're saying, they already have this discipline. Why? They want to win.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they get paid a lot of money. No doubt about it. And I feel they earn every dollar. Do you know why? Because they spend part of their own money to make themselves better. You know, Tom Brady has his own people that do his food, his workouts. Yeah. But he's in his 40s and he's winning Super Bowls.
Yeah.
LeBron James, he could go to any place, but what does he do all year long? He practices basketball.
Yep.
And he's devoted to it. And you know what? And he's also a good person. His message is right. He's not showing up on bad social media accounts. He's not.
No,
because
he's not,
you know
at
why?
all.
He doesn't want to destroy that image.
Yep.
So he's devoted himself to that, but he pays a lot of his own money to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
So, like I said, as far as their teams, not a fan. But them as human beings and the models that they're doing, I could look at a disciplined life. Yeah. And I can relate that to people in the armed forces right now. Is that, look, if you try to take and all the advantages that the armed forces are offering you, you don't have to pay for it.
Yep.
But you could be the best person in this and then get out and capitalize on this.
Yep.
But again, they have a vision.
Yep.
And you said Michael Jordan, he wrote this down. It's the best in the game ever. Why? Look at this guy was single focus was to be the best.
That discipline, it's kind of crazy how, like, even in the armed services, like, you learn the discipline, but then for some people, it either taper off to a far left, it stays stagnant. But that discipline, I think sometimes we have to refocus our motivation. Because I know for me, like, I just try to find that next thing that I haven't conquered, and I like, you know what? I'll try that, and if I fail, okay, I'll try it again.
Good. Yeah. That's right. Well, you know what I call that, though, is I call that sustainability leadership.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's something we need to practice is sustainability leadership or sustaining things. And that's what I think we see where some airmen might fall off. Because I think, every airman or soldier or sailor or Marine, like they graduate recruit training, they're like, hey, this is good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty excited right now. The recruiter got me over there. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And then they may go on to their MOS or A school. Yeah. And they're still feeling pretty good about themselves. All of a sudden, they get to their next unit, and it's how they're received is going to depend which way they're going to go for the next 4 years. It's either going to be a good path or a bad path. Yeah. If they're treated like crap when they get to their first unit, I guarantee you that person's not re-enlisting.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
But if all of a sudden they're taken care of, they get a good mentor that says, this is what you need to do. That's sustainability leadership.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it sustains itself throughout a career. So thank God, when I got to my first units, there was people that cared about me.
Yeah.
And then I said, man, this is important. But look at, like I said, when you first came in, there might have been some people there that those first units that weren't the best examples. And people are like, why should I stay in if there are going to be people like this in the military?
Yeah. That's what I tell people when I came into recruiting is, because I like we talked about earlier, before we started recording is, some recruiters have good experiences, some recruiters have bad experience, and I always tell people, Roy and I were very fortunate to have the flight chief that we did, because I'm a firm believer in that he made recruiting for us what it is today. Because how we had gotten there and it had been a different story, maybe we wouldn't have taken to it as much as we did. Yeah. And so I tell people that all the time, like, hey man, I'm sorry you got a rough patch this first time around. I was very fortunate to have who I did, because he, showed me the light per se, and it motivated me to want to be better.
Yeah. And now you'll remember that person, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Boss
Oh
man.
yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
knows who he is.
Oh yeah,
Give him a plug,
yeah,
man. Throw the name out there.
like
Oh,
we
no,
we,
no.
we like we still talk to him now. I mean, but like it's I think I deal with it as a recruiter. Like we
Yeah.
meet so many people now, but here's the downside. A lot of people will like block their own blessing or their own opportunity
Yeah.
because of like, oh well, I heard this is bad. Like it's kind of like joining different branches. Like, oh well, no, I'm not gonna go over there because I heard this or that. Like, but did you do it? Like, no. So just because their experience was one way, why are you gonna block this opportunity for yourself?
Yeah.
And I don't know, why do we have such a mental block for certain things? Like I'll use a simple analogy: trying food. Oh no, I can't try that because like my dad said it's not like. I try to make
Yes.
it my business to try
Yes.
something. Like if I haven't tried it before, like I give it a shot, and then if I hear it another time and it's prepared by somebody else, depending
Yes.
on my first experience, I may or may not try that shit. But
What a great analogy.
Well,
Yes.
well, even the military. I mean, how like we talked about earlier, the stigmas and stuff like that. You put the Army, you put the Air Force and the Marines next to each other. What are people automatically going to probably jump to 9 times out of 10? Probably the Air Force, right? But look how successful you've been. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what people don't understand is it's not about the initial offer. It's about what you do with that offer and take it to where you can.
Yeah. I mean, and there's, like I said, there's so many different factors, and you know this specifically as recruiters. It could be that family connection.
Yep.
It could be a school teacher.
Legacy.
It could be a neighborhood friend that came in and said, "This is why." It's hard to say. I mean, you got the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard thrown at these young men or women. Look at the hyper competitiveness and what all wants to offer.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm never going to say one is better than the other. And you could put me and put me through the torture racks. I'm still not going to say one is better than the other. I'm not, because I think that does such an injustice to all these men and women that wear this uniform. Because I used to tell everyone, when I look at our uniform, and if I put my hand over this part, when I used to wear one, and if I put my hand over this part, just this 3/4 of what's over the left pocket, the only thing still left is U.S.
Yeah.
And I said, that's the one commonality all our uniforms have, is that U.S.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I'm in the United States, not the un-United States.
Yeah.
And so, I said, like, I don't really care really what uniform you have on.
Yeah.
It's just that you're serving. And I'm not going to say, and I'm never going to do the jokes. You know what I mean? When I was a young guy, sure, I participated in all the jokes. I have a great one. And I could pull every service joke right now for 3 hours of a podcast. But, when you get a little bit more mature, and I think what it is when you go to, when I deployed overseas and I started, deployed, to Iraq, and then I deployed to Afghanistan, and I was in joint services, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. This is no difference, man. And everyone wants to kick ass, and everyone wants to beat a bad guy. Yeah. And that's our unifying factor.
That's right. Unity.
Yeah. Like I said, but like I said, that's the only thing that troubles me is sometimes right now I think we're in the un-United States instead of the United States. So.
No. And so we got about 5 minutes left, and so
I'm having too much fun with you two.
I know we have. Don't worry. I'm so now I'm gonna start telling all our guests, like, so after our first year of podcast, we want to have like some reunion episodes. So like, so we'll get you and Trox on.
Same one. You got to put us together. We're gonna talk Sopranos.
And then we're gonna start hooking people together, and then but so I would say, so from strictly how you've experienced the civilian sector since you got out in April is like, what advice would you say you've seen, not even just veterans, people getting out of the military, but just as a general sense, where do you think there's a disparity as far as people getting jobs or marketing themselves?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, first off, another quick plug: scared money don't make money. No. But this is why your term resonates, and this is why I'm going to use this now, anecdotally, to just kind of wind it up with this. And what's the difference? And literally, scared money don't make money. It's that why aren't you willing to take this risk? And because that's what it is the risk is going to bring the reward.
Yeah.
And I think it's their egos are blocking them because they are afraid of failure. And ego is one of the things we find is that that will block your failure because you're just going to say, I don't want to attempt it.
Yeah.
So the problem, though, I see is doing the right transition. And this is the issue, is that the transition readiness is so different, but there's so much offered skill bridge that they have. And there's so many programs out right now that they could experience that will make transition perfect. So again, for someone like Command Sergeant Major Troxel and myself, completely different. 35 years, our Rolodex is different. You cannot compare us to someone getting out at 30 or 20, or you just can't.
Yeah.
But my advice to, though, and especially like that 20-year veteran or that 30-year veteran that's getting out, the 10-year, is the Fourblock.orgs, these organizations, getting on them early, building that network, and I bet you that transition is going to be seamless. But thinking the ego is just because you say, I was in the military and they're going to come and hire me. No, not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the issue is this, and you guys want to set up your talent management. So I did a podcast with Fourblock a couple of weeks ago, and this was my challenge to the HR folks out there, is I'm going to take any young man who does even 4 years in the military, 5 years that they're an officer, and you know what? They would have gone to at least 1 or 2 leadership schools in that time frame. I said, you show me anyone that you're trying to hire right out there in the civilian world that has any type of leadership experience from the get-go, says not going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is the one thing, at least our folks in the military have that leg up. And the longer they stay in, so if you do 13 years like you did, Cameron, you went to 2 leadership schools.
I did.
All right. When you go to work for Lowe's or Home Depot or anyone, Amazon, you know what they're not doing? They're not sending their folks to leadership school.
No,
We invest on that. So that's what I'm saying, is that at least that veteran, they have to capitalize on it, that they have these advantages over that 22-year-old that, they said, well, the 22-year-old, why don't we just take a chance? Okay, take the chance and fail, because I'm at least going to give you someone. And here's the thing, though. One last thing. When we're like, say you get out at 26, 27, or 28. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Your boss might be younger than you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's look at the military.
Yep.
When a second lieutenant comes out and joins your unit, what do you call them, even if you have 30 years? You know what you call them?
Sir.
Yes, sir, or yes, ma'am.
Yep.
So don't tell me the military is going to have some problem, because we know I don't understand it. What I do warn them, though, if you give that military person a chance, soon people will be calling them sir or ma'am.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you see? So what do you see from a civilian aspect when someone's trying to get a job so far?
Yeah, I think they're not marketing themselves correctly.
Yeah.
But the problem is there's too many ways, and this is where I need your guys' help, especially if we're going to be talent managers and HR professionals. Is that the problem is when you're going through these searches, they say, well, you got to write a resume for this, a resume for that. There's no like universal resume.
Correct.
So how do we help them to at least get the different types of resumes out there that are going to get to that algorithm you mentioned, and that 30 seconds is going to work? So I think this is the issue, especially with a lot of the organizations we have benefiting military veterans, is how do you get that right resume out there? Yeah. And someone tells them like, oh, you have a great resume, and also they're not getting a job. Yep. Then someone else looks at it, oh, this resume is not very good. How do you, so how can, that's the thing I think we need to work with HR professionals is what is this good military resume for that transitioning veteran that's going to beat that 30-second test?
Yeah. No, for sure. Roy, you got anything?
Nah, did you already ask the question? Like, what does scared money don't make money to you?
I didn't. That's the, so now, so yeah, so every show, show we like, you've been saying it, you've been living it. Now you got to explain it.
You got to explain it. Like you got to break it down.
So what does scared money don't make money mean to you?
What was it? We met a month ago when John Wayne Troxel came. He said, I did scared money don't make money. And I bust out laughing. And all of a sudden I went, that is so cool, because all went right there. I said, look, you know what? If you don't take the chance, you're not going to make it.
Yep.
Period. If you don't take the chance, if you're scared, because an old buddy of mine used to say when we're young guys in the Marine Corps, hey, if you're scared, go to church.
Yeah.
And I used to remember that. And so that's when I heard scared money don't make money. I thought of my one buddy, Kenny Kaiser, used to say, hey, if you're scared, go to church. Not that I'm saying you got to go to church not because you're scared. You go for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But no. Yeah, no, I got to be careful.
It's
right?
a phrase, people.
It is a phrase.
Money's the root of all evil. Right? So you don't have any. But no, like I said, where the scared money, and I want you guys to keep repeating, is that like, hey, if you don't take the chance, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I know a bunch of people out there, I've seen them, are scared. They're afraid.
Yeah.
And you know why they're afraid? Because they have a shattered ego because someone told them they failed. You know what? I want to tell me because I'm going to try to make it better.
Yeah.
So scared money don't make money. Hey, if you don't take the chance, or who's it like Wayne Gretzky said, for every shot you don't take, it's a goal you don't make.
Yeah. I just saw that too.
What is that? What is that one? Yeah, right?
Like 100%, 100% of the shots, you 100% don't make. So something like that.
Yeah. But that's scared money don't make money, guys, and that's why it just resonates to me deeply. I've been saying it a lot lately. My poor wife, she keeps hearing me right now. With some things going on with COVID, I go, hey, scared money don't make money.
She gets you a card, and you like every time you say it, bing.
No. I was hoping to see some swag. Money. That's right. I hope to see some swag. I can't wait to wear the shirt, man.
Oh, so my supplier. Man. So I hit my supplier. So is she's at her and her husband are actually on the way. He's one of my best friends, my buddy Josh. Holla at you. They're PCSing to Alaska. So somebody said the same thing. They went on Facebook. They're like, yo, can I get a shirt? And I tagged her and she's like, I'm out of business until I get my household goods. But she made our shirts. And so, obviously I want to hook her up because she's a friend of mine and everything.
Let me know. I want to be the first to buy one.
There you go. Yeah. And so,
because you know why? Like I said, I want to buy one. You know why?
Oh,
because no money don't make any
that's right.
money.
That's
right there.
That's
so
right.
You know what I mean?
Hey.
You can't give it away.
I'm also just a tech sergeant. He's just a master, so I don't got these things stockpiled. You got to buy your own. I bought mine.
Oh yeah, it's kind of rough.
This mic was like,
Yeah, Mike. Then I had to get the light. They kept on talking about
I made him get the light. His wife's like, "What can make you buy now?"
Man, yeah, that's exactly what. She's looking at the charger like, "What is this now?" Like, look, man, it's for our podcast.
Cam said my light is not good, bro.
Awesome. But, hey guys, but seriously, this is, like I said, I've been so excited, especially when I knew when John Wayne Troxell is doing something like that. And I always say when John Wayne Troxell does something, he usually has me at hello.
Yeah.
Because his vetting and he's only going to go on something that's meaningful. Yeah. And it means it's meaning a difference and making a difference. And I told you that quick story, and hopefully he gets to listen to it when it comes up, is Julian Eisenberg out here in Honolulu. Mm-hmm. When I mentioned it's going to be on, here's a young soldier just transitioned. And right away he goes, I know that podcast. And I was like, so you're reaching, and that's all I want you guys to keep doing. I'm going to pray that this podcast continues to make it and will do well, because you are that voice, and you're that connective voice to those young men and women in uniform right now they're going to listen to you all because you're going to connect to them. Yeah. And when you connect to them, you may improve that ego. They're going to be willing to take a chance. Yeah. They're not going to be afraid. And you know what? They're going to make some money. And you want to know something, though? It's just going to make our society better. It's going to make them better. Yeah. And it's going to keep that podcast going.
There you go.
That's it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, of course.
God bless you guys.
By all means, there will be a reunion for sure.
Yeah.
I
just leave you with this. It's a privilege to serve.
Yep.
And it's a privilege to serve, and it's a privilege to serve alongside you all and for you all. And especially now, how I'm trying to help our veterans.
Yes.
And that's a privilege. And I can't take it lightly. That's why I transition. I'm doing all this stuff. You notice everything involves our veterans and their families, because I have to give back.
Yeah.
I have to.
No, for sure. But no, we appreciate you, sir. Roy, you got anything? Any lasting comments?
Well, we already went over time. Like, as always, we have so much fun doing this. Like, like I said, it's like us talking, like just rapping. just try to always evolve, be better. If you always striving to be a better man, woman, husband, father, mother, sister, daughter, what have you, like you have no choice but to be a better human.
Yeah.
And you'll always do fine. So that's how I look at it. That's all I got.
All right. Well,
hey, Clifford.
Oh, you go.
Cameron.
Yeah.
God bless you both, guys.
Nah, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
That's a wrap.